In exploring the hidden affairs of history's greatest leaders, the introduction must first set the context of power and secrecy. Power, by its very nature, often operates behind closed doors, away from the public eye. Secrecy is an intrinsic aspect of governance, where delicate matters of state demand confidentiality. The interplay between power and secrecy is crucial in understanding how leaders wield influence and navigate the complexities of leadership. The significance of this point lies in the realization that behind every public decision or policy, there may be private motivations and undisclosed discussions. Hidden affairs aren't just romantic liaisons, but encompass covert dealings, secret alliances, and personal ambitions that may alter the course of history. When the veil is lifted, these clandestine episodes can redefine our comprehension of past events and leadership dynamics. Consider the case of John F. Kennedy, where beyond his public persona of charismatic leadership lay secretive political maneuverings and personal indiscretions. His covert establishment of back-channel communications with Soviet leaders during the Cuban Missile Crisis played a pivotal role in averting nuclear war, a stark illustration of how secrecy can be instrumental in crisis management. Similarly, Winston Churchill's clandestine efforts in fostering intelligence networks during World War II significantly shaped the Allied forces' strategic advantage. Opinions on the necessity of secrecy are varied. Some argue that it is essential for national security and effective governance, allowing leaders the space to make tough decisions without public interference. Others contend that it can be a cloak for unethical behavior, as transparency is sacrificed, potentially undermining democratic accountability. However, the practice of maintaining secrecy invites controversies. Critics point to the potential for abuse of power, where decisions made in secret can lead to a lack of transparency and accountability, eroding public trust. Transparency advocates push for a more open approach, emphasizing that the veil of secrecy can lead to corruption or misguided policies shielded from public scrutiny. The interplay of power and secrecy influences other aspects of leadership, including public perception, legacy, and policy outcomes. By understanding this context, we can better appreciate the complexity of leadership and its impact on history. Hidden affairs, therefore, are not anomalies but elements that shape governance, highlighting the delicate balance between secrecy, necessary for effective leadership, and the transparency demanded by democratic ideals. This context serves as a foundation for delving deeper into the hidden narratives that have influenced some of history's most powerful figures. The heading Historical Precedents of Leaders' Hidden Affairs delves into the clandestine personal lives of some of history's most influential figures, exploring how their undisclosed affairs impacted their leadership and legacies. This aspect of historical examination focuses on the private indiscretions and secret relationships of leaders, often revealing the complex interplay between personal and political spheres. These hidden affairs are significant because they offer a deeper understanding of the leaders' characters and the potential influence their private lives had on their public duties. A prime example is Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, whose relationship with Sally Hemings, an enslaved woman at his Monticello estate, was kept hidden for many years. This affair not only challenges Jefferson's public persona as a champion of liberty, but also underscores the contradictions inherent in his stance on slavery. Similarly, John F. Kennedy's various alleged extramarital affairs, including the one with Marilyn Monroe, paint a broader picture of the charismatic leader's personal life that was kept separate from public scrutiny during his presidency. These examples reveal how hidden affairs can both humanize and complicate our understanding of iconic leaders. Supporters of exploring these hidden affairs argue that acknowledging the full scope of a leader's life, including their personal indiscretions, provides a more rounded and honest portrayal. It helps historians and the public alike understand the multifaceted nature of leadership and the potential vulnerabilities of those in power. Moreover, it invokes a critical look at the cultural and societal norms surrounding leadership and privacy. However, attempting to uncover and analyze these hidden affairs is not without controversy. Critics argue that focusing on the personal scandals of historical figures risks overshadowing their accomplishments and contributions. Furthermore, there is a challenge in verifying the accuracy of historical accounts due to biases in record-keeping or reliance on hearsay and speculation. By examining the hidden affairs of great leaders, we gain insights into how personal misconduct might influence political decision-making, perceptions of integrity, and public trust. It underscores the intricate dynamics between public duty and private life, bolstering our understanding of leadership as an inherently human endeavor. This exploration also invites us to consider current leaders and the ongoing relevance of privacy, transparency, and accountability in governance. In essence, these historical precedents illuminate the continuous tension between a leader's public facade and private reality, impacting how history is interpreted and constructed. The concept of motivations behind concealing personal affairs involves understanding why history's prominent leaders often chose to hide their private lives from public scrutiny. At its core, this entails examining the personal, political, and social reasons that drove leaders to keep their affairs secret. Concealment might stem from the desire to maintain a public image of moral integrity and strength, imperative for nurturing trust and authority among subjects and allies. This secrecy not only protected their power, but often ensured the stability of their governance in times when maintaining a flawless reputation was crucial. Understanding these motivations is significant because it highlights the human dimension of leadership and power. Leaders' personal affairs could have influenced crucial political decisions, shaped policies, and even redirected the course of history. Unraveling these hidden aspects enriches our understanding of historical narratives, presenting a more nuanced perspective of how personal lives intersect with public duties. Consider the example of President John F. Kennedy, whose numerous infidelities were meticulously concealed from the public during his presidency. The decision to conceal these affairs was driven by the need to project an image of a stable family man, a cornerstone of political appeal at the time, essential for maintaining voter trust and reinforcing international credibility during the Cold War. Similarly, Winston Churchill, renowned for his leadership during World War II, was known to have concealed his bouts of depression, known as his Black Dog. By maintaining a facade of unwavering resolve, Churchill sustained confidence among the British public during years of profound uncertainty. Proponents argue that such concealment was necessary. It shielded leaders from distractions that could derail their agendas and ensured public focus remained on their policies rather than personal indiscretions. However, this practice is not without controversy. Critics argue that concealing personal affairs compromises transparency, depriving the public of a complete understanding of a leader's character, which is essential in democratic societies for informed decision-making. This concealment is a double-edged sword, establishing an inherent tension between public interest and personal privacy. It fundamentally challenges the ethics of leadership, raising questions about the extent to which private lives should impact public roles. This point links profoundly with the broader theme of the hidden affairs of history's greatest leaders, illustrating how personal secrets can cast long shadows over public legacies, influencing public perception and the enduring historiographical narratives of these figures. The concept of impact of personal affairs on political decisions refers to the ways in which the private lives of historical leaders have influenced their public decision-making processes. This intersection of personal and political spheres is not merely an anecdotal curiosity, but a profound dynamic that can shape the course of history. Examining this impact reveals the human vulnerabilities and biases behind supposedly objective political maneuvers, adding depth to our understanding of history's greatest leaders. The significance of this point lies in its ability to humanize figures who are often idolized or vilified based solely on their political legacies. Recognizing the influence of personal affairs on political decisions encourages a more nuanced interpretation of these individuals, acknowledging that personal relationships, indiscretions, and emotional entanglements often sway their actions in ways that might not be immediately apparent. One prominent example is the role of Franklin D. Roosevelt's close relationship with his advisor, Lucy Mercer, in influencing his leadership style and decisions during his presidency. It is suggested by some historians that the emotional support and perspective she provided played a subtle role in his diplomatic approaches and resilience during challenging periods. Another example includes King Henry VIII of England, whose numerous marriages and personal quest for love not only reshaped the religious landscape of England through the establishment of the Church of England, but also dictated domestic and foreign policy decisions driven by his need for a male heir and personal validation. Supporters of this viewpoint argue that understanding these personal dynamics is crucial to comprehending the full context of historical decisions. They believe it enriches historical narratives and brings authenticity to the study of leadership. However, this notion isn't without controversy or challenge. Some critics argue that focusing too much on the personal aspects can detract from larger systemic and ideological forces at play, potentially oversimplifying complex historical events. This point connects to the broader topic of the hidden affairs of history's greatest leaders by emphasizing the intertwined nature of personal and public lives in historical narratives. It highlights how personal affairs are not isolated footnotes, but integral components that can dictate political strategies, reformulate policies, and even alter the trajectories of entire nations. By exploring these hidden dynamics, we gain a richer, more comprehensive understanding of history's most pivotal moments and the leaders who shaped them.